Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Pros podcast by Investor Fuel, the nation's premier real estate mastermind. I'm your host, Dylan Silver, and today on the show we have Bo Belmont, who is the founder of Bellwood Investments, an app that makes luxury fractional real estate investing available to everyone, and he's out there in sunny Newport Beach, California. Bo, welcome to the show.
Dylan, hey, so pleased to be a part of this. Thank you for the invite. Really looking forward to it. Thank you.
Absolutely. And before we hopped on here, the first thing that I said is look at that view. We were talking about boats. I was confused initially which area of the country that you were in, because I was getting my coasts confused. But you were telling me that you've been out there for 3 years now. So congrats on your success and that beautiful view behind you.
I know, yeah, it's not a prop. Those are definitely boats back there. You may see a rowing team cruise by every now and then, but that's the perks of Newport Beach.
Before we hopped on the podcast here, we were talking about kind of your entry point into the real estate space, and I like to ask folks, because everyone sees the end of the journey. It's not an overnight success at all. I don't think that is ever the case in real estate. And you were talking about fix and flip lending. How did you get into the real estate space?
Sure. So in the early 2000s, I was recruited by AmeriQuest Mortgage Company, and in a subprime lending sector of that business, and also portfolio retention. And was quite successful at that, became a branch manager, and then segued into a couple other brokerages. But in 2007, the market started to crash, and I needed to pivot to something else because subprime lending was just not a thing anymore. And that's when I discovered fixing and flipping homes, which wasn't as popular as it is today.
No, and I think for a lot of folks who are on the outside looking in, you're flooded with all these different ways to get into real estate. I know I was, and I'm at the point where I'm blessed enough to where I passed my real estate exam yesterday, so now I can go sell homes, on the MLS. But before that, I was in the wholesale space, and I was doing wholesale because that's what I saw, everywhere. And so it was like everyone's doing wholesale. But 5-10 years ago, that wasn't the case. So when you were doing fix and flip, and even before that, what was the education that you were able to seek out? How did you go about doing it without so much, really information as there is today?
Yeah, so great question. I actually studied. I had a bit of a mentor. There was a gentleman. He was actually my neighbor, quite successful, and he had been doing this for many years. He was buying distressed properties, renovating them, and selling them. And he actually took me under his wing for a little bit and showed me what to look for, what to stay away from. And I combined that with just jumping in head first into the deep end. I mean, I read books, I was on YouTube, I was using all of the resources that were at my disposal I could get my hands on. But it wasn't anything like today. Today, you have so many courses you can get your hands on and be a part of. But to tell you the truth, it was a brutal battle for me to learn it on my own. But I did it. I was successful at it, and it gained a lot of attention from my friends.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
When you were in that space, you mentioned, I believe you mentioned a neighbor. How did that come about? Was it divine intervention? Was it you having a conversation one day, or did you always know that he was involved and said, "Hey neighbor, I'm actually looking to do this myself"?
Great question. So his name is Dan, and Dan and I were friends, and or still are. He moved away, but what I was doing, I was lending. So there was always communication regarding real estate and what I was doing and what he was doing. At the time when I was lending, I was doing so well that I didn't even care what he was doing. I just said, okay, cool, that sounds fun. I'm not in construction, so it really didn't cross my mind. But what happened was when the market crashed, I saw some of the homes that I was lending to that were now 1/3 of the cost. My first flip actually was right down the street. I just lent $500,000 on this home in Sacramento, and now is for sale for $175,000.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I saw an opportunity there, even in a declining market, to say, you know what? I'm able to pick this up for a relatively low price, put some money into it like what Dan is doing, and then sell it for an affordable price compared to what they were going for just a couple months prior to that. So I reached out to Dan and I said, Dan, I sell this house. It's really affordable. What type of costs are associated with making this thing beautiful again? Because it's got a hole in the roof. It's got squatters in there. It's got all the gross things that you can imagine on a entry level fix and flip home. And he walked me through it, and he said, hey, this one is a great property. Doesn't have any foundation issues. You're going to have some pest work. You definitely have to do all the finish work. But at the end of the day, he really guided me through that first property. And then I just coupled that with some of the things I was reading online, and I was at Barnes & Noble literally looking up construction. But I did it myself, Dylan. I did all of the work myself just so I could learn what it costs and the time associated with this project. That way, the next project, I could hire people, and everybody knows that contractors, there's no fixed price associated with certain trades. So if you don't know how much time and cost are associated with a trade, then how are you able to hold a contractor accountable to stay within your budget?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much there, and you dove in head first.
Yeah.
That first flip, do you remember it well? Do you remember kind of the issues that came up? And were you swinging a hammer physically, or was there a crew out there with you?
No, I was swinging the hammer. I did the roof. I did the stucco. I did the cabinetry. I did the flooring. I even did some electrical work. I learned about red tags. I learned about getting all the permits in line prior to starting construction. But it was surprising. Back then, it was a little bit different. The inspectors wanted to work with me because I just told them, I said, this is my first project. I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm learning. And they actually helped me quite a bit. Sometimes the inspectors are for you, sometimes they're against you. And this time they were for me. So they guided me through it. The house, when you turned on some lights, there was some buzzing noises, but it still passed inspection, and I was able to exit that one successfully.
I don't have any deeds in my name yet, but hopefully soon here, God willing. But the idea of swinging a hammer for me was totally like I have no idea what I'm doing, But I've gone now just to seek out opportunity. I've gone to fix and flips, and I have a mentor here in the DFW Metro who's let me participate in some of the demos
Yeah.
before the flip. So some of these are wild, like foaming the foundation to raise it up, and I didn't even know you could do some. Like you just tear down a wall, and then you're seeing more issues and more, and so I can't even imagine going through that process that first time. On your before everything is where it is today. I'm sure you ran into issues which were like confounding, but you just knew through your mentor, Dan, I believe you said his name was, and through, sheer will, you were going to get through it.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Well, what I looked at, Dylan, was I looked at the contractors and spoke with the contractors, and they didn't have any crazy skill set that I wasn't able to deploy. They didn't have a doctorate degree. They didn't have a master's. They, were just a hardworking human. And with the tools that I was using, not physical tools, but just like learning online and reading, I realized that it wasn't super complicated. And then as far as physical tools, there was a tool for everything, and to make that job easier. So from going to drywall, installing insulation, roofing and coil guns and framing nailers. I mean, there's a perfect tool for that job. And if you dive in head first, you realize that it's not overly complicated. There's a method to everything. You just have to do it. Every journey begins with one step. And so I just took that step and did it myself. But it was that education, it was the hands-on that really gave me a solid footing to where I was able to scale from there. I was able to now hold contractors accountable. There was no more contractors coming to me and say, well, we tore down that wall, and boy, you wouldn't believe it. There was X, Y, Z behind there. But with my education now, after learning, I could say, no. I know what's behind that wall. There's some insulation. There's some Romex wire. There may be some copper, plumbing. But other than that, I don't see why this would cost me an extra $5,000. And so you deal with contractors that are always trying, not all of them, but a lot of them are always trying to up the ante a little bit. And if you don't have that expertise or that experience, then it could eat all of the profit out of that project really quickly.
100%. My mentor in this space, I'm like, how do you know how to do this? Because he's not swinging a hammer. I'm like, well, he came from a finance background. I'm like, how? He was like, well, when I was 19, I was worked on a roofing crew, and I just kind of figured it out when I did my first flip, much like you. And so I'm like, dude, you're so good at this. You could be a general contractor, like working for others. Like your flips are beautiful, and you just taught yourself this, much like you, Bo. And so, that growth is really impressive, and I think it's a testament to that. If you seek the information, if you're willing to put in the man hours, and you can figure it out. Which leads me to my next question here for you, Bo. The growth from fixing, you go from the mortgage industry to fixing and flipping. And then, to today where that you have luxury fractional real estate investing app. I know we're talking about lots of time here, but connect the dots for us. How did you go from fixing and flipping to where you are today?
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Yeah, great question. So at the time, in 2000, 2007, 2008, there were no HGTV channels talking about, fix and flip, zombie house, nightmare house. There was none of that. But when I got into it and I actually flipped my first house, it really gained the attention of a lot of my friends. And they said, "Hey, Bo, man, what you're doing is amazing. You just made an extra 100 grand in 6 months. I want to do that." And I told them, quite frankly, I said, "Well, then you're going to need to quit your job. You're going to need to cash in your 401k, roll the dice, and best of luck to you. You're going to need to study a little bit." And of course, their answer was absolutely not. I need my career. I have a family to support, but I do have some capital I can disperse. So how can we do this together? And so at the time, I was doing several flips on my own, and I was able to partner with some of my friends. And I told them back then, I said, "Okay, I'm getting a hard money loan to pay for half the purchase price. I have to come up with the other half of the purchase price plus all the construction costs and carrying costs. I'll get the hard money loan. You get the rest of the money. We'll do a joint venture. We'll do this together. We'll sell it. We'll split the profits evenly. Everybody's happy." So that worked out tremendously. And that gained more attention from more friends and more family members. And it really blossomed into what we have now, which is a fractional real estate investment platform with over 6,000 friends, if you will, that all enjoy the aspects of flipping homes, but just don't have the time, money, or resources. And the app was created, Dylan, to streamline the entire process, because as I started flipping homes with friends and family and loved ones and even associates of them, there needed to be constant communication. There needed to be updates. They wanted to know what's going on with the house. When is it closing? Is there a new roof being put on? There needed to be transparency. And in this market, in investing in real estate, the transparency is one of the most critical parts, but there was a huge lack of that. So that's, fast forward 2018 when I started Bellwood and really focused on fractional real estate investing through our platform. I was able to not only showcase the homes that we were potentially buying to provide an opportunity for them to invest, but then once we closed on those properties, to provide updates to our investors, showing them exactly what's going on. So there wasn't constant emails coming to me and our departments and our teams asking what's going on. We were ahead of the curve saying, "Hey, next week there's going to be a new roof. And next week we're going to market. Next week we close escrow. Next week funds are dispersed from escrow, and congratulations." Every step of the way, we were able to and are able to update our investors as to what's going on with the project.
So when you decide, there's pretty incredible to have this type of platform. Really, it sounds like an organic growth because you just had so many people who saw what you were doing. You didn't have that necessarily. You figured it out on your own, but you're there to make sure that people have someone to shadow when they're doing their flips effectively. And then I'm imagining maybe it wasn't this straightforward, but I'm sure it wasn't probably, but you saw that there is people who don't necessarily want to be swinging a hammer, but they love the idea of partaking in this process. How can I facilitate that? What is there out there? You probably looked at the landscape and there's really not any. You could send money to someone's bank account, but how trustworthy do they feel like that is? You could Venmo them, but then what happens, right? And so are these thoughts that you were having? What tools are out there for this?
Exactly. Great point there, Dylan. So what we did was we took it a step further because that is one of the biggest concerns with real estate investing, especially joint ventures or partnering with somebody is what's this, how is my money going to be secured? How do we know that this investment company or this contractor or whomever is involved with this transaction isn't going to take the money and run, isn't going to perform their duties to really take that home to the finish line? So we wanted to, again, to stay ahead of the curve and give people the opportunity to stay abreast every step of the way. But as far as securing their funds, right, instead of Venmoing me money, instead of cash in hand or anything like that, what we wanted to do is securitize it. So instead of investors sending us their money, they actually send it to an escrow company, and then their funds are secured with a deed of trust on that property. What that does is it eliminates us from being able to, or any other investment company, if they were to deploy this type of security measure, from just taking their funds and buying a Ferrari or buying a boat, which happens. I hear so many horror stories, and I wanted our investors to never have to feel that. So when we find a property and an investor wants to participate in it, there's no sending us cash. It goes directly to an escrow company. It's secured with a deed of trust, and we secure multiple deeds of trust. On our Malibu property, we have over 500 deeds of trust on that specific property, all securing their investment. And that is a unique and proprietary thing to Bellwood. There are no other companies in the world that do what we do.
Now, you talked about 500 deeds of trust. So these are 500 individual investors, and they have an interest in this Malibu property. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then from there, are all of the projects that they're investing in, are these projects that you and your team are overseeing the flipping of, or are there a number of folks who are part of that flipping process?
So what we do is we actually manage general contractors. So we're not a construction company. We don't want to be a construction company. But in the early 2000s, in 2007, 2008, it really gave me the basis to be able to identify the costs associated with the project. But now that we've come so far and we have hundreds of projects and they're ultra luxury, it really demands the quality and consistency of a top general contractor. So here at Bellwood, we have a team of construction managers that just manage these GCs, holding them accountable to timeframes, holding them accountable to budgets. And this is what allows us to continue to scale. We're also partnered with Home Depot, which is a unique relationship where we have access to their general contractors. So, for instance, if you go into Home Depot and you see the flooring and it says, well, we'll install it for you, or the hot water heater, we'll install it for you. These are general contractors in that area of that Home Depot that have been vetted and have been proven to be quality contractors in that area. So what we have access is to those folks. So wherever you see a Home Depot is where Bellwood can scale to.
Help me connect some of the dots here, Bo, because this is so new to me and to our audience that I think most people just aren't aware that they have this as an investment tool. I've heard of like fractional shares of stock, right? I've never heard of fractional real estate investing. It's super cool. So your company, Bellwood Investments, will manage the contractors and making sure that there's no unscrupulous actors and that they're on time and on budget. They're also facilitating the investment from the investors themselves. And like you mentioned, Malibu property, 500 deeds of trust, 500 investors. Are you also finding the properties, and how are the properties getting onto the platform?
Another great question. So we actually work with realtors nationwide who provide us inventory. And we have another app called the Bellwood Agent app. We have two apps, the Bellwood Investor app and the Bellwood Agent app. The Bellwood Agent app allows agents around the United States to source real estate investments, submit them through our application. They go through our underwriting process. And if the purchase price is approved, the agent that submitted that property is able to represent Bellwood as our agent and collect the commission associated with that transaction. But it doesn't just end there. We actually finish that property and we give it right back to that agent to sell again. So agents
Wow.
that work with us make a minimum of 2 commissions on their properties. And for agents right now, last year I believe it was 47% of agents didn't sell a property. But our
Yep.
agents were really consistent, and not only were they consistent, but they doubled their income. So, as you can imagine, we have a lot of hungry agents out there that really utilize this platform and send us inventory consistently. So, that's how we
Wow.
find our properties, and we're able to take those properties once they're vetted and then put them on our investor app, the Bellwood Investor app, where our investors are able to go on there, explore which opportunities they would like to invest, and then put an offer in and move forward.
Bo, you said a couple things that piqued my interest there. The agents, you raise a good point with, agents who aren't necessarily a lot are not producing at all, really. I just sat for my real estate license exam yesterday, passed, thank God. But
Congratulations.
thank you, thank you. We'll see me out here, hopefully selling some homes here in the DFW metro. But um, to your point, there's a lot of agents who probably stay away from kind of the distressed area where I would imagine that's kind of where folks can make their money is in the distressed property in a good area that no one wants to touch. Well, here we can pool, 500 people together and make a utility out of this where otherwise people are not touching it.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head. So we're all about restoring communities. There's a significant impact on the environment with new construction, and also there's a lack of inventory. But what people seem to want, and which is fairly common, is what I call the new car smell, right?
Yep.
They want a new car rather than buying a used car, and that just goes the same way as real estate. However, what we're able to do is identify homes in mature neighborhoods, quarter acre lots with fruit trees and neighbors that have been there consistently, houses that aren't stacked up next to each other. And we're able to take that product and improve it to where it does have that new car smell. So we're not only improving the communities, but we're also empowering these communities to invest in themselves, right? So Bellwood should be and will be a household name for all neighborhoods. When, let's say, there's a home down the street and it's overgrown, and all the neighbors know who lives there, and
Yeah.
they know that they're in trouble and they can't afford the home, or they need to go to assisted living. I mean, we hear about it all the time. There's death in the family. There's, tragedy that happens. Sometimes people just need to exit that property because they can't afford it. Well, now the community utilizing Bellwood can invest in their own community, improve it, bring up the values, and make an ROI rather than, let's say, BlackRock or Blackstone coming in, buying it, and renting it out. This is an opportunity for the community to get together, improve their own, and make money at it.
Bo, that this is such a new thing. I'm smiling over here because I'm thinking, can I call, my friends and say, hey, let's invest together through Bellwood? What's without giving away all the game here, Bo, what's the minimum investment that people can make on these fractional properties?
Yeah, great question. So the Malibu house, which was formerly owned by Kanye West, we actually set that minimum investment at $1,000. We had, again, over 500 people, some at over $1 million, and a lot at $1,000. So our whole goal, Dylan, is to democratize luxury real estate investing, bringing it to everybody, not just the top 0.01%, right? These are attractive products for the world. There's a reason why there are 30 different HGTV channels talking about the same thing, just packaging it differently. But the access to these things, this market, is so limited. You
Yeah.
have to have a lot of money, a lot of experience. And so we wanted to fully democratize that opportunity.
I can almost hear in the background people saying almost like, This is like, in effect, a Robin Hood in a way, because
Exactly what we call ourselves. We are the Robin Hood of real estate. Yep.
I'm glad that you feel that same way. I didn't want to come off the wrong way, because people really, I know a lot of people, millennials, Gen Z, really feel like, with everything, how am I supposed to partake in this while I'm young? I love to have a homestead, but beyond that, like, I want to partake in real estate now. How can I do that? I've heard a lot of people in Texas talking about land and mobile homes. I didn't even know that there was a vehicle for fractional. This is the first time I've heard that. Fractional real estate investing. I'm in Texas. Can I fractionally invest in something in California through your platform?
Absolutely. We have investors from all over the world. And as a matter of fact, we are global. We have properties in Greece. We have investors from Canada. We have investors from Australia. We have investors from everywhere. All of them want or have an urge to invest in real estate. So when we have a product in Beverly Hills, which we have several, this is a very popular name around the world. It's not just popular in California. People understand Beverly Hills, they understand Hollywood, they understand Malibu. But could you imagine being in, let's just say, Greece, and having an opportunity to invest in a product that you only see on TV, that you only see on Selling Sunset or Selling OC? These are the products that we're able to bring to the world, and it doesn't matter your location. And as a matter of fact, people are actually able to use cryptocurrency with Bellwood Investments as well.
I mean, I'm smiling from ear to ear because I have a buddy, Matt, who's my good buddy. I'm in DFW. He's in San Antonio. I moved up to Dallas last September, really to pursue a real estate career, because I know that this is by far, this is the hottest market in Texas. And so my buddy who's in San Antonio, I said, you got to go get your license too so that we can talk shop. And he actually is going. So he went to Champion School in San Antonio yesterday for the first time. As soon as I get off here, I'm going to tell him, Matt, I know that we're both saving money. Did you know we can fractionally invest in real estate in California like now? With as little as $1,000. I think he's going to be blown away by that. But Bo, we are coming up on time here. Where can folks go to get a hold of you?
Sure. Yeah, you can reach out to us via our Bellwood Investor app. It's in the Google and Apple Store, and it's free. There's no cost associated with that. If you're an agent and you want to submit properties, it's the Bellwood Agent app. But for most folks who want to, like you and your friend, invest in luxury real estate, the Bellwood Agent app is going to be your ticket, and that's Bellwood with one L. And then, of course, you can reach out to me personally via email, and my email is Bo, B-O, at thebigco.org, Bo at thebigco.org. I would love to hear from you guys.
Well, folks, I think if you're listening to this and your ears are perking up like me, and you're realizing I can fractionally invest in real estate, and your light bulbs are going off, you're thinking maybe I should call my friend, just like I'm thinking about my buddy Matt. Check out the Bellwood Investor and Bellwood Agent apps for those agents out there, and you can fractionally invest in luxury real estate throughout the country and the world, even if you're outside of the country. That's an amazing tool to have. Bo, thank you for coming on the show. And until next time, guys, this has been the Real Estate Pros podcast by Investor Fuel, and thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, Dylan. It's been a pleasure. You take care.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.